Hello, welcome to One Angry Black Republican Podcast. I'm your host, B, and today I'm going to be addressing 3 topics that have been weighing on my spirit this particular week. This is the podcast where morality meets extremism. So the first thing I want to address today is my former quote-unquote employer. And excuse me for saying a lot. I noticed that in some of my podcasts, and I'm going to work on that as we move along. Each episode will get a little bit better. But I want to address Candace Owens and the Brexit national movement. Because ultimately, integrity is something that is important to me. Integrity represents those things that we advocate or believe in, whether we're in the public eye or in private. We're focused on our word. We're focused on our bond. This is the things that come to mind when I am thinking of the word integrity. And unfortunately, Brexit National has shown me very little in terms of this idea of integrity. So when I was the media director for Brexit National, and however they want to break it up, whether they want to disassociate themselves from specific Brexit organizations operating and functioning in multiple states. The bottom line is, I provided to Brexit National what I call, what has always been the case, intellectual property. One particular idea that I provided, came from a movie I watched, which I loved, called 3 Billboards in Ebbing, in which this woman whose daughter had been murdered uses a billboard campaign to highlight the fact that the local sheriff wasn't addressing the murder of her daughter, which any parent would, some parents I know would have taken heads, but this parent was patient, and she starts this campaign using billboards to highlight the egregious practice of the local sheriff in not getting to the bottom of what happened to her daughter. So I proposed this idea to Brexit National when I was working, quote unquote, working for them. And I'm looking at Candace's she did a live, I'm going to check myself. Sometimes in my state of anger, and anger is a good feeling sometimes, because when you have a way to channel it, and as a street lit writer, I've been able to channel a lot of my rage through my writing and music. So I might not sound it, okay, but I'm boiling inside at the fact that in this particular case, my sister Candace chose to steal my idea my intellectual property and go on a billboard campaign for herself and the Brexit National Organization, which is being financed by, a rhino branch of the Republican Party. That branch of, state directed, mandated power. Okay, that regulates everything that the party does. Even though they are in many ways operating against the masses of Republicans throughout the country, these are the individuals who finance Candace Owens. Mind you, in direct opposition to their 501c3 status, and I'm not going to get into the particulars of that because there's a lot of information that I don't have. I'm not in the loop anymore, so to speak. But I thought it very egregious of my sister to, and this also speaks to this overarching theme that I'm addressing in this particular season called, social mediocrity. We've abandoned the idea of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We've abandoned that in today's society because now people with reckless abandon violate, steal, discredit from a corrupt perspective based on their own acquisition of power, from their perspective. So I'm not going to diminish the impact that Candace Owens had on my life. A lot of women had a tremendous impact on my life, whether it be positive or negative. We are lifelong learners. And we learn as we move through society. We learn more and more every day. So, yes, there have been positive influences on my life that have come in the direction from women, and there have been negative influences on my life. But in this particular case, Candace Owens has been a positive. She truly opened up my eyes to a whole new possibility of analysis when it comes to looking at and thank God for Candace Owens, okay? Because when you're participating in the information building and gathering process of moving towards revolutionary thinking. A revolution is a violent act. Okay, so I was totally engulfed in that line of thinking for quite some time in my adult life. And you could blame it on, a lot of it on Rutgers University. When I got to Rutgers, that's when I became radicalized and my ideology weaponized. Rutgers did that. I had professors like Ivan Van Sertima. They came before Columbus. I was introduced to Amiri Baraka and blues people. Jawanza Kunjufu, countering the conspiracy to destroy black boys, black economics. Naeem Akbar, Visions for Black Men. Baba Zak Kondo, The Judas Factor, the plot to assassinate Malcolm X, Carl Evans. These were my teachers when I got to college. Okay, so Angela Davis and Yusuf Ali, Afromusicology, and learning about Pan-Africanism and Du Bois and learning about the particulars of the slave trade, the bullwhip days. The slaves, remember, the 3,000, 500 or so slave narratives. Researching at the Schomburg. I became radicalized at Rutgers and angry and enraged. George Jackson and the Soledad brothers and Jonathan Jackson and the little soldier Ruby Bridges. I became radicalized at Rutgers. And when I came home looking at the conditions of our community, from that perspective, learning about the political prisoners in Mumia, Abu Jamal, going to the rallies for Mumia, Abner Louima, the rallies for Louima, and Amadou Diallo. My experience was very radical. Million Youth March with Khalid and the Million Man March with Farrakhan. So I don't make no apologies for my education. That experience, led me to Fanon and the Wretched of the Earth and the Dying Colonialism. When you're inundated with revolutionary information, you're not in a capitalist state of mind. I was, ready for whatever revolution was going to look like in the superpower after reading Lenin and Trotsky and Marx and Engels, Communist Revolution, Workers of the World Unite. As an American, I didn't realize how revolution was going to play out. Okay, so the Panthers and Huey, Mao Zedong, we can go on and on, Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. So I was in a one-track state of mind. It was Candace Owens who forced me to pump the brakes because she gave me a different perspective to look at. So I pumped the brakes right at the cliff of trying to think out what the practice of revolution was going to look like. There's theory and then there's practice. And thank God for Candace Owens, because when you get to the, start to speculate or formulate what you think the practice phase is going to look like, luckily I got children. So there were a lot of factors, my family, there were a lot of factors that went into the moment where you're outlining practice, when you get to a point where it's like, wait a minute, our own people are working against us. There's a blind naivety sometimes that comes with following people or following ideology. You go following a group for so long, and then you realize, wait a minute, they're just like the capitalists. It reminds me of Animal Farm. Napoleon and Snowball trying to, and yes, this is a allegorical text that deals with the particulars of the Russian Revolution, but that final scene in my head where the pigs are sitting at the table with the landowners, the farmers, and they're all, and the other animals are looking inside the window like, wait a minute, they can't tell the difference between the pigs and man anymore. And that's where that's where my mind went, seeing some individuals who I thought were like among the most radical, become Napoleon, and that now that they're sitting at the table with the 1%, not having any qualms about suppressing well, I don't even want to get into that reality, but the point is, it was Candace Owens that created the shift in my thinking. And now that I've been on this journey of greater understanding, which is important, I don't want to be in one of those situations where, when Huey, and this is all, speculation anyway, because I don't have the facts, but a good brother that I, met, shared this with me. And I don't take credit for where my ideas come from, nothing new under the sun. But some people have more information than others, and in the sharing and exchange of information, it leads us down other avenues. But this brother gave me a thought to think about, and sharing an anecdote about Huey, and how when Huey met Mao Zedong for the first time, Mao said to him, "Yo, you need to do some more studying." When this brother shared this with me, that stuck. And I've been, trying to, get time to delve into that research for myself, because I do the research. I try to do the work for myself. And I got a long way to go, just like we all do. Learning is a lifelong endeavor. I may never reach that plateau of understanding enough to incite the practice. Okay, so Candace really changed my perspective. So I'm grateful to her for that. And I will always be grateful to the sister for that. I will never I will never not give her those props for that. But sometimes when you learn more about a person or a group, it poses a conundrum in some cases, like it did here, where I'm, bringing all of my intellectual property to an organization, volunteering, by the way. This was never for me about money, which behooves me in terms of how my conspirators plotted against me. This wasn't about money. I'm an authentic soul. God orders my steps, whether you want to delve into that reality with me or not. God orders these steps. So when I experience this, social mediocrity, I can't move with you anymore. You cross me once, shame on you. You cross me twice, shame on me. I don't do that phony alliance crap. I don't do that. Once you Donnie Brasco me, it's a wrap. You just may not see it because, we're so used to a society where you can be violated by, your husband, or violated by your wife over and over and over again, and you're forced to sit there and just accept it because you have no other choices or options, or you think you have no choices or options. You can't cheat on me, and cheating doesn't necessarily mean physically going out and cheating with some person. Cheating on me is not honoring what you said. You gotta honor what you say. You don't honor what you say, you're a cheat. You robbed me. And now I'm the dupe, I'm the fool. But I'm not gonna play the fool for long. I'm gonna keep it pushing. Okay, so this social mediocrity that Candace is showing me, by one, even allowing anyone to speak for another person. There was no due process with that organization. So it doesn't surprise me that she would start this quote unquote billboard campaign without acknowledging the fact that that idea came from Blexit, New Jersey, my brand or my branch of Blexit, New Jersey. So, social mediocrity, Candace. I'm disappointed with you. Just know that. Which, this disappointment, social mediocrity. I am flabbergasted that you, who has shown me so much grace and honor, that you would be so egregious in your movement on this one. So I needed to get that out, Candace. So you're my donkey of the day. I'm going to steal from Charlemagne. You're my donkey of the day. Okay? I got another donkey of the day. And that is the second thing I want to address. Brother Cuomo, the creep. Cuomo the creep. That's what we're going to call him. Cuomo the creep. So, multiple victims, multiple women come out and, throw charges of sexual assault, inappropriate behavior. You name it, he probably did it. Likely he did it. Okay, so, and I thought out the potential for the conspiracy. Now that, Trump is out of office, maybe Trump is, financing secretly these coup d'etats. I think that's a little far-fetched, especially since, Trump has his own issues to consider. But, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be addressing the particulars of Cuomo's investigation of the case. What I'm going to be addressing is the social mediocrity that is coming out of many women and many Democrats, or Demorats, especially in this situation, who are advocating this idea that we should all give Cuomo a pass. Like, what? Shut the front door. WTF in bold, glowing letters. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? A pass? What the hell is this? Okay, so let's rewind. So all of these women are coming out of the woodwork and they're blaming or, accusing Governor Cuomo, New York Governor Cuomo, of inappropriate behavior. Okay. There are senators in in New York, AOC specifically, one of, who are calling for this man to resign. And the growing tension of wanting him to step down has mounted. But this arrogant creep is still, I don't know, what is it with New York governors? Because Giuliani had this swelled head after 9/11. It's like, Giuliani is the 9/11 governor. And he will ride that wave. He rode that wave all the way to the White House with Donald Trump. Okay, because it's like they make these accomplishments. And everyone was gassing up Cuomo's head during the whole COVID reality, even though he was probably actually moving with the same with the same ignorance as philanthropist, carpetbagger philanthropist Murphy in New Jersey was in totally not even thinking about the Bill of Rights. Like, how the hell do you become a governor and you don't consider the Bill of Rights? Talk about Sarah Palin not having enough information or knowledge to, be a vice president. How can you be a governor of a state and you dismiss the Bill of Rights? Or you don't even think about the Constitution when you're moving unilaterally? And, the masses, going back to my Animal Farm analogy here, the masses are like boxers, dumb horses. just walking in line behind some ideology, that is being pushed, by the squealers of the world. We're the type of social mediocrity that would allow or put women in a position where they would say, let's give Cuomo a pass for his sexual assaults charges, is totally out of line and totally egregious. So give him a pass. What does that even mean? So it's almost like the backward thinking of, police investigations, where it's like, okay, this guy just murdered 19 people. Like, Sammy the Bull Gravano murdered like 19 people. Like, murdered. One murder, there are people still in jail for life for committing one murder. In life. Okay? One murder. You take somebody's life. One murder. This man killed 19 people and he's walking the streets. That's how backward this government is. You killed 19 people and you had enough information to get a pass on a second chance at life in a society where 19 families, 19 moms and 19 fathers and 19 children and 19 uncles and 19 cousins and 19 all of those people still suffering, going to the cemetery, looking at those gravestones where their family lays to rest. This man gets to come out and, tell his story on. Oh my. Okay, let's not. I'm gonna run off on a tangent. I'm sorry. But a pass? He did something so great that he could get a pass on sexual assault. Like the Bull Gravano, you gave up so much information on other people that you get a pass for 19 murders? Whoa, that is ridiculous. That is totally egregious and totally fits within the theme of social mediocrity. That is social mediocrity at its finest. Extremist social mediocrity. Okay? Unbelievable. But that's where we are in this society. The socially mediocre reign supreme. The socially mediocre reign supreme. When you have women, who... So you're telling me some of you sisters are so angry at the last 4 years of Donald Trump that you are willing to let multiple assault charges being levied against this governor, Cuomo, you're willing to quote-unquote overlook all of that because he did such a quote-unquote good job during the beginning phases of the pandemic, even though the first numbers that came out, 16,000 deaths in the United States, 8,000 were black. 8,000 were black. Whew. You gotta laugh to keep from crying. Okay, the kind of social mediocrity that runs this culture, you have to laugh to keep from crying. Which brings me to my third point I want to address today, which is cancel culture. Okay, Dave Chappelle, cancel culture. Let's talk about it. Dr. Seuss. Okay. And this is a short story that no one can beat. I saw it all happen on Mulberry Street. Think about the young Theodore Geisel in 1936. 1937, the first Dr. Seuss book is published. 1937. I am not surprised that there was racism going on in 1937. I'm not surprised. But as a literature scholar, I believe that literary authenticity is important. I want the full meaning. I want to know what the hell was in Theodore Geisel's mind in 1936 when he started to pen those lines. I want to know what was his thinking like. Yes, he might have been a racist. Yes, he might have included subtle messages and slanted eye, Asian people. That's one of the stereotypes, one of the things that they use, that propaganda, to make people feel insecure about themselves. Do you honestly think Asians feel insecure today? They're among the wealthiest in the country. Some of these Chinese people, they don't care. It could be Thanksgiving and the Chinaman is open. Excuse me for saying Chinaman. Chantel, I caught that. The Chinese restaurant is open on Thanksgiving. You know why? Because many of them are about money. Crazy rich Asians. Excuse me. Excuse me. Crazy rich Asians. Some of these people got money. They don't care about those. And I'm not saying that the more money you get, the more you dismiss. Ultimately, that's what ends up happening. The more you get access to this country, the more you start to forget. The more you overlook. It's racist shit that happen every day now. But if you got money, you got your lifestyle in order, you got people that are holding you accountable. You might be driving a Benz, but, if your wife say, bring your ass home at 8, that Benz is parked in the driveway at 8. Period. We got a society where you're held accountable. You're regimented. You have a very controlled lifestyle. You start talking that revolution shit, and the baby got to be fed. Your wife don't want to hear that shit. Revolution this ass. You better go in there and get that baby. Take care of your responsibilities. Do what you got to do. You can't go all willy-nilly and cockneyed in your analysis and your movement, even when it's right. Even when it's right. So, and then Dr. Seuss. I mean, Dr. Seuss is like Mr. Rogers. We got the type of society where Mr. Rogers couldn't exist today. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Right then and there, parents like, wait a minute, hell no, I ain't sending my kids to this place. Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Like, the Lovely Bones created a whole new mindset in America. You don't know men and children. It's like you have to be fingerprinted 50 times before you can work with kids today, because of the kinds of assaults that take place against our children today with foolish people. So Dr. Seuss, and I gotta be honest, yes, I looked at those controversial texts again, and I kept saying to myself, why, even if it was true in terms of his thinking, isn't it important to know? Listen, history repeats itself, especially in moments where you don't understand or try to at least learn history. That's why history is so important. History is so important because if we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat. So we have this bulldozer culture that wants to eliminate all of the obstacles from the next generation's purview. You want to eliminate everything. Mr. Potato Head. Oh my God, let's get rid of Mr. Potato Head. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. That's not wise, folks. That's not wise in a society that is still trying to grapple with the realities of racism. Yes, the last 4 years under President Trump, a lot of racism reared its head. But I don't blame that exclusively on Donald Trump. Donald Trump became a politician. The businessman turned politician. He's like McCarthy. Or like Bill Clinton, or any one of those presidents that fueled the flames of hate or racism. That argument can be made. Okay, but we're talking about a binary system where, we are forced to choose the lesser of two evils. The lesser wing on the vampire bat. And when you're approaching the society from my perspective, where it's like, listen, the only solution is revolution. The only solution to our problems as black people in America is a full-blown revolution. We got to tear this entire system down and rebuild it. Now, if that's your mindset for years, okay, it's like, wait a minute. Both of you parties are problematic. I don't want to talk to Democrats or Republicans because I don't want to participate in a government that has to come down. But then you get to a place where it's like, okay, hold on. That's an irresponsible position to push right now because, one, we're nowhere near that reality in society today because everyone at this point is suspect. You got your closest friends will turn you in if you start talking reckless and put them in a situation where they're going to lose their money because we have been inundated in this cream philosophy where cash rules everything around. You can't participate in the revolution when you think like that because if that's your God and cash rules everything around you, you will turn anyone in for that almighty dollar. Don't nobody want to follow you. Can't nobody trust you. So, the lesser of two evils. The Democrats have been, keeping us on a mental plantation, for decades. To the point where we haven't even thought about communicating with Republicans. That is what led to that reality that I face in Blexit, New Jersey. I'm totally anti-Democrat. I don't want to talk to you. And right now, I'm very, very fast moving to that place where I don't even want to talk to Republicans. Which, hence, one angry black Republican. Attempting to create a different mindset among Republicans in New Jersey. One angry black Republican. So, leave Dr. Seuss alone. Leave the literature alone. We need those authentic messages so that we can truly get an understanding of history so that as we are moving towards building a better future for our people and for our children, we don't cut our nose off to smite our face and put our children in a situation where it's like, what was that movie? Demolition Man. Fuck. You use the curse word up. Hey, such and such. Where you're walking around and everybody is this pristine and mild-mannered and respectful citizen. Where all the griots are in the base under the sewer. Living their lives freely. That's where society's heading. And I don't want to be above with the bourgeoisie. I don't. I got to be honest with you. I don't want to be with the bourgeoisie. So, well, thank you for listening to episode 4 of One Angry Black Republican, season 2, episode 4. The cancel culture and social mediocrity reality. Peace.